is ranging far ahead of other values like pluralism or democratization. In this regard, it is stabilizing the authoritarian regime in Azerbaijan to a certain degree. What should be alarming for the international community is the degree of militarization in this conflict environment. In Azerbaijan, the military buildup has reached the 20-fold under President Ilham Aliyev with regard to, in comparison to the last year of his father's presidency. The 20-fold since 2003. Though we're far away of Azerbaijan's financial potential, the same process is going on in Armenia and in Nagorno-Karabakh. This military build-up is accompanied by a parabellum rhetoric by Azerbaijan's political elite, by permanently speaking of the option of a military conflict solution if a diplomatic one does not become visible soon. And the political breakthrough in the conflict mediation again did not become visible on the most recent summit in Kazan. There was again a high degree of disillusionment. The five-day war in Georgia in August 2008 taught us one bitter lesson with regard to the misleading label of frozen conflict, which was used for the unresolved separatist conflicts in the post-Soviet space from Transnistria to Karabakh. It taught us that we cannot rely on the status quo of those conflicts, on their perceived frozenness. We cannot exclude the falling back into military escalation. And with regard to the Karabakh conflict, this worst-case scenario of new military escalation has been returning into analysis within the last 2 years due to the increasing number of incidents along the line of contact and growing military rhetorics around the conflict. The international community has to look with more attention, more thoroughly, to some outstanding peculiarities of the conflict, distinguishing it from other regional conflicts like the Georgian ones. One of these peculiarities is that the ceasefire line, in this case, the line of contact, is not monitored by a serious international mission. This line of contact is resembling a First World War trench with snipers and thousands of soldiers on both sides. Peacekeeping, or at least a more systematic monitoring, is a challenge to the international policy in this case, which is has not get a response. The most outstanding peculiarity is the fact that the territorial dispute in this case, in this conflict, is not limited to the separatist entity. Unlike Georgia or Moldova, Azerbaijan did not only lose control of the disputed territory of Nagorno-Karabakh, it also lost much larger adjacent territories, which are until now occupied by Armenian troops. As Svante Cornell stated in his most recent book on Azerbaijan, had Armenia limited itself to asserting control over Karabakh and perhaps a corridor linking it to Armenia, a larger number of Azerbaijanis might have been inclined to accept the idea of letting Karabakh go in one way or another. But the loss of much larger territories fueled a strong sense of humiliation and the determination to achieve the return of all lost territories, including Karabakh. So the bulk of Azerbaijani displaced persons and refugees came from these adjacent regions and not from Karabakh itself. The withdrawal of Armenian troops from at least 5 of these provinces, east and south of Karabakh, is one of the most essential points of the basic principles. It could be stricter demanded by the international community if Azerbaijan would renounce military rhetoric. By threatening with military conflict solution, Baku is supporting the Armenian argument that these territories have to function as a security buffer for for protecting Nagorno-Karabakh from military offenses by the enemy. Another peculiarity of the Karabakh conflict is, and now I'm carrying on what has been said before, is the limitation of conflict, or the large limitation of conflict management to the level of high diplomacy, of very secret diplomacy, to a so-called track 1 level, and the absence, or not the total absence, but large absence of civil society involvement and grassroots activities. I think the outstanding challenge of this conflict is addressed to conflict transformation. Transformation with regard to the overcoming of deep-rooted enemy pictures, which are cultivated by memory wars and history wars on both sides. Transformation with regard to people-to-people contacts in a conflict with the most hardened separation of communities of all regional conflicts in the post-Soviet era. The separation in the case of Karabakh is much more hardened than that in the Georgian conflicts with Abkhazia and South Ossetia. With every year,